We have a fresh update on the oldest known runic inscriptions, thanks to a published article by Krister Vashus, a frequent guest on this channel, et al. This inscription, which dates now, radiocarbon dates are saying as early as 50 BC, was announced in January 2023, and I have a couple videos that I made back then about it when we were mostly calling it the Idiberug inscription based on the name. That was the first part of the inscription to really be discussed anywhere in public, and that probably is a woman's name, Idiberug or Idibergu. They often mix consonants and vowels in order, something called metathesis in speech, but it's just something that often happens in kind of newly literate speech communities. Now, having the date of this inscription pushed back certainly, I think, helps strengthen the notion that I have long favored, that the runic alphabet is not based on the Roman alphabet, but rather on contacts earlier in the Germanic-speaking people's history, potentially with a Celtic-speaking people who passed them an archaic form of the Greek alphabet. Work by David Schifter, another guest on the channel, has shown that the D rune, for example, has a precedent in the Lepontic use of the archaic Greek letter san for a similar sound. I have a lot of videos about that too. Now, what other things? So part of what's interesting, the news about what they're now calling the Svingerud stone, which is from near Hula in Buskerud. So it's about 25 miles northwest of Oslo, about the distance of, say, Boulder from Denver. One thing they're finding is that actually there's several different fragments of it that used to form one larger stone, and different fragments say different things, and some fragments have pieces of one inscription, and for example, one which has a crack right down the middle of it says ek, something that ends in lu, fachido runo. So I, the name that ends in lu, painted the rune. And in very early inscriptions we often see the singular word rune to mean the inscription, not the letter, right? So a rune is something written in runes rather than a runic letter. That name ending in u would also be suggestive of another woman's name, interestingly. Then there is a long bit that says what I would basically represent as like this is not words, it could just be practice, but it looks to me a little bit like the kind of supposedly nonsense sequence that you get from coded use of runes in later Younger Futhark, although I've run it through a bunch of the potential Younger Futhark runic codes and can't figure out what it might say.